This was a gift from John Marie. You know, he's very loving and giving of his information. Amusement parks, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people use this because they can't have big subs all around the park or whatever. So they like to pump in those upper harmonics that give you the illusion of a heavier bass, but then now you don't have that wasted voltage. It's actually giving you something you can hear. Great tool. You got my boy, Shadow Hills. I currently moved from Larrabee to one of the best studios on planet Earth with one of the best owners on planet Earth, a guy by the name of Francesco. And it's the difference between a good studio and a bad studio is its owner. If the owner is a passionate music person, I don't like the studio business. I don't like having to figure out runners and this and that. I don't like the stress. Here's your money for the day. I've been doing it for 15 years. Probably spent millions and millions on studios. But if anyone wants to know, like when you are in a studio and you got that concierge service and you got that people catering to you and you're that guy in your parking spot, it's just a great feeling to drive to work. Maybe I might be inspired one day to open my own spot, but Francesco has one of the best studios with every piece of gear, and he has this piece of gear in my room, and I love him for it. But on this one, we're using the plug-in, and it sounds absolutely amazing. Sometimes I'll put the hardware insert on. We A-B'd it. We did the test with me and my assistants. It was so close that 9 times out of 10, people would choose this because you have so much more abilities and capabilities because you can automate everything. So it's just a great plug-in. But as you can see, I barely hit it. I drive it to give me my sound, but I barely hit the compressor. I just kiss it. So I'm really relying on this to duplicate what I get out of my Shadow Hills in the room. And that's all that extra stuff that happens when you drive that machine. Here's my gate, as you can see. And we'll go over the EQs up here. Here's my gate, which I don't take away any of the noise. I just don't want it a high noise floor because we got a lot of compression. We got a lot of plugins, and we all know plugins have sometimes a high noise floor. So when it's supposed to be quiet, it's not. I mean, you know, we got the white noise down the bottom and all kind of other textures. So, you know, it's my OCD happening again and making sure that when it's not playing, it's not heard. But when it's playing, you can see the hold and the release on 1 second. So it's not closing in between, you know, and a lot of people do that, but not me. And we'll jump back to these EQs real quick before we get to the game changer. So as you can see, I'm taking away some information, adding it, giving me a little bit of top. I'm a dipper, if you want to call it. I love taking away before I add, but I'm taking everything from, you know, 1100 all the way down. And I think that is close to 2.5 dB. Why? Because it was a little heavy. Sometimes you can be a little bit too heavy. So, and then you'll make this work a little bit too much. And then you have the upper harmonics, so it was just too much. I had what I needed, so I just dialed it back. And this gave me the clarity and the openness and the separation that I needed once a little bit of that weight was taken away. And then, as you can see, I'm skipping the PA resistance. I hope I said it right. I gave it a little bit more top, so obviously I had second thoughts of giving it a little bit of a bump. And this is another game changer, man. It's really great that people have been introduced to what mastering people have been using for years, and that's playing with the 3 sides that you have. You know, you have the center section, you have the left and the right. It's a fantastic tool. You can EQ the center alone and find pockets for other instruments. I love this because 9 times out of 10, I'm using it to sit a place for my vocal. But in the mono section, which primarily the drums are doing, once again, I had a little bit too much weight. So I took off. I dipped the middle to give me a little space. But this is a huge tool that often gets slept on. And it's called the mono maker. The mono maker is basically taking all your low end signal from wherever you set the cross point, 61 hertz and below, and putting it right in your middle. And everyone knows this. Sometimes you want a stereo low end, sometimes you want some crazy stuff. But when your low end is centered in the middle, driving the record in mono, it sounds better period, point blank. And that's just a taste thing. So basically, if you have a synth and you want to do anything to the outside only and you don't want to affect the vocal on a mastering thing, they would just do this. And same thing with here. If you want to just, you know, deduct here and then bring it back where you deducted and boost it on the outside. So now you don't have it here, but you didn't lose the excitement because you added it back on the outside away from the vocal. I love it. We'll hear what it's doing. And you can just see the lift. And I actually kissed it with a little bit, but you barely can feel it, even though it's at 112%, with a little stereo imaging.